Welcome in, everybody. It is Sunday night, June 2nd, 2024. I can't believe already we are essentially almost half the way. Well, we're halfway through the year right now. It's June 2nd already. I can't believe how quick and how fast this year is flying by so far. But thought I'd get on here and do some Karen Read stuff, obviously, tonight. And it's nice to see everybody here. If I can pull this off the way that I have visualized it, I think it's going to be a great show, but we're going to give it a whirl. And why I came up with the idea tonight, we're going to go through kind of a timeline review, was I've been going back to the ABC Nightline interview, the one with Karen back. Oh God, it had to have been 9 months ago. And it's really the only time that we've seen Karen sit down for about a 9-minute period and explain everything that she went through that night and the recurring of the events. And I found it curious because now we're starting to hear testimony in court. We've seen visuals, we've seen video, we've seen photographs. And I want to kind of go back and visualize all this and show a visual aspect. And I really don't, and then I started to look in deep dive kind of into this and looked at a timeline. And I'm going to use the timeline from the Justice Group tonight. And the person that put that together did a phenomenal job. But I don't think y'all realize until you see and you start lining it up with all the videos, how much shit happened when Karen dropped John off at 34 Fairview, left, went home, and you're going to hear it in the Nightline interview. She says she fell asleep around 1:30 at John's house. You are going to see tonight all this shit that happened between literally 1:30 in the morning till Karen arrived back at 34 Fairview. And it's almost mouth dropping. And I'm going to try to put this in chronological order. I'm going to use some videos. We're going to play the 911 call and kind of kind of put all those events back together so we can get kind of a visual timeline. But it's crazy. I mean, it is crazy when you actually start going through that timeline and picking it out and seeing like all the shit Jen McCabe was involved with, all the shit that Brian Higgins was involved with. It is nuts. It's crazy. Jen McCabe is very present, about 90% involved at that time. And, I still haven't really put my thumb on it. I have my theories, and I'll talk about some of my possible theories of what happened to John tonight as we go through this. Like I said, if I can pull this off, I think it's going to come out really well. So let me go up here. We'll just welcome some people in the chat. I want to let everybody know, just as I've been doing, it's customary. Any donation that comes in tonight, I will kick back 25% of it. My overall goal is if we can get to a goal of $50 for Karen tonight, that would be really great. Also, last night, if you missed Turtle Boy's live, I was on his show last night with Mark Betterow. I was on there with the Glarer, obviously Turtle Boy, and what a phenomenal panel. I think at one point we had almost 8,000 people watching. So I wanted to thank all of them for having me. Of course, Turtle Boy for having me on and asking me to be on that panel. It was just awesome to sit back and listen to everybody talk and, have the opportunity to interject and just get Mark's take on everything. And I think Mark was very open and honest about everything. And I like his perspective, and he's been really killing it on all the shows that he's been on. So really, really good stuff. All right, let me go up to the chat and just pull some people up. Let's see. We got SPKNTC says, hello, my friend. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. LJ says this should be a great Sunday night stream. It was so nice to see the four of you last night. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Gil checking in from Australia tonight. Welcome in. MEA checking in, saying hello. Hello. Lindy is here. Thank you so much. Sassy Bartenders in the house. Thank you. Kim is hanging out as well. Linda. Amy's over here. Thank you. Rogue, channel member and moderator. Thank you so much for being in here. Let's see. Sarah says, hey, all excited for court tomorrow while I'm enjoying the Tennessee warm weather. Nice. So enjoy Tennessee. My girlfriend just got back from Tennessee. Char's checking in. Rem is checking in. Toots. Jennifer McCabe's tooth is checking. Are we going to get to the tooth? the whole tooth and nothing but the tooth. Yes, 9 months ago. Thank you. I didn't watch it, so we're going to play that tonight. Let's see. Amy's checking in. Let's see. Toots again. Joe Babe is in the house. Hello. How are you? My girlfriend checking in. Hello. How are you? Good to see you. Hope you had a good time up in New Hampshire. Let's see. Uncle Fredo checking in. Good to see you. Thank you. Let's do this. Toots with a $5. Going to kick it off. Thank you so much. I went to a cookout today. I was surprised how many thought she did it. Really? Did you question and ask them? Give me some evidence that you have seen that the Commonwealth has brought forth so far that proves that Karen Read not only hit John O'Keefe, but cold fucking blooded murdered him. I still haven't seen anything from the Commonwealth. We're not going to get it. I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to go on the advice of Mark. I think Mark really solidified a lot of things. It was very interesting to hear him talk last night. There's no fucking way in hell that Karen Read is getting convicted of this crime. No fucking way. Let's see. Lee checking in. Hey, I got your email. Thank you so much. That was very kind. Great show last night. It was a great show, wasn't it? Awesome panel. Love the panel. Yep. Hit that like button. I appreciate it. So we'll add 5 to the total. Rogue, if you can run. Yeah, Rogue's very good at running the total. Uncle Fredo with the $10 super sticker. Thank you so much. So we got $10 right now. 25% of that get kicked back to Karen Read. All right. Thanks for checking in, everybody. I can't get to everybody. We got Connecticut. I lived in Connecticut for a little while. New Jersey in the house. Good to see you. All right. So let's get to kind of what I want to do here tonight. And again, if I can nail this down, I think it will turn out really well. But I think it's going to put a lot of things into perspective, that timeline of what's going on. And I think when I went back and looked over this, the point in that Nightline interview is when Karen Read said, I went back to John's house and I fell asleep at 1:30, around 1:30. And I went, whoa, can you imagine all the stuff that happened from 1:30 on? And I said, let's go look at that. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to start at 34 Fairview. We know everything that happened at the waterfall. We're going to start when Jennifer McCabe arrives. But first, let's do this. Let's play that Nightline interview, and then we'll kind of timeline all of this out and kind of visualize it as to what was going on. So let's give it a rip. We'll see what we can do. And let's start with this.
Outside this courthouse in Canton, Massachusetts, supporters swarmed around Karen Read, charged with murder in the January 2022 death of her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. Read has strenuously denied the allegations.
I did not kill John O'Keefe. I've never harmed a hair on John O'Keefe's head.
Her defense, bare-knuckled and bold, is making national headlines. Her lawyers alleging in court documents that a fellow police officer was involved in O'Keefe's death and colluded with other people in a cover-up.
You're alleging that law enforcement officials in the state committed murder and that they're covering it up. Why would they want to be involved in this?
Because he's dead. I think things went too far. It was late. There was alcohol involved, but they're all family. And there's many of them involved.
After posting bail, Read has spent much of the past 18 months in and out of court awaiting a trial date.
And me and my family and my attorneys and my team have marshaled every resource to get to the truth. It just feels like no one else wants it.
Prosecutors allege that Read hit O'Keefe with her car after getting into an argument earlier in the day, leaving him to die in the middle of a snowstorm in January 2022. But Read says she had no reason to harm her boyfriend.
I would call him the patron saint of Canton. He was just very selfless, frugal, and I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone that didn't care for John.
So here's the thing. It's an interesting question that you said that, because I used one of their videos before, and I have talked with Scott before. I got permission from Scott when I was covering the Nicholas Aliverti case here on my channel, and they did a behavior panel on Nicholas Aliverti. And it was that whole Nicholas Aliverti, I am Arthur Knight and not Nicholas Aliverti. Well, I was doing it. It was a lot of information on it, and it just kind of fell by the wayside. We don't have any new information. But I've talked to Scott from the behavior panel. I actually reached back out to him about a week ago and said, hey, I'd love to have you come on the show and do a behavior analysis of all of these witnesses. Never heard back from Scott. I get it. They're busy, but maybe all of you can drop some comments on his page and say, hey, go on LTL. He'd love to have you guys over as a guest and do a live with him. And let's go through some of the witness testimony and talk about their body language. So I have reached out to him. Yes, and I want to let everybody know, everybody coming in tonight, as customary, when I do these Karen Reed streams, I try to do as much as I can. 25% of all donations tonight will get kicked back to Karen Reed. So again, let's keep going through this visual timeline. A lot of people haven't seen this video, and I'm going to try to play it through as much as I can.
The couple first dated in their 20s and reconnected more than a decade later in the middle of the pandemic.
So how did you meet up again?
He had reached out to me on Facebook and he said, hey, blast from the past, how's things? And when I saw his picture, his profile picture was with several young children. And then it triggered my memory that his sister and his sister's husband had passed away. And he told me, yeah, I have the kids now. I admired that. I thought that was amazing.
Soon, Reed says she became part of the family, often sleeping over at O'Keefe's house and helping take care of the kids.
He would go to work and I would stay with his niece and nephew.
And I have a very interesting take about the relationship of John and Karen Reed at a certain point. And I think this may shed some light because obviously we know that Karen had reached out to Higgins on the 12th. But there's something in this video that you all are going to hear. And I have to say, in my opinion, their relationship on the night of New Year's Eve probably wasn't so good afterwards. I think they still were talking. And you're going to hear something that John had said to Karen. And you're going to hear this. Maybe you haven't.
All of the breaks that the kids had, we did something.
But their relationship also had its struggles. Reeve says O'Keefe had been relying more on her to take care of the kids and that he criticized some of the decisions she made with them.
We had an argument on New Year's Eve. We were away on vacation and he became incoherently drunk. And I ended up ringing in the new year with his niece and nephew. John didn't come back to our room till after 3 a.m. So that was rough. I felt very much taken advantage of. He apologized profusely for what happened on New Year's Eve. And he said, if you can't get over it, then you need to spend some time at yours. I can't keep apologizing.
If you can't get over it, you need to spend some time at your house. So they definitely had an argument about this. Now I'm wondering if they were basically split at that time. Maybe Karen did go home and she was spending more time at her home and wasn't so much at John's house. You know, maybe they were on that rocky relationship and that's why she reached out to Higgins at that point. Or maybe, you know, on the 12th. And I started to think about that. Maybe they were at odds. Their relationship wasn't as tight. And then maybe to rekindle some stuff, they go out that night to the waterfall. Let's go out. Let's have a good time. I know this is a little bit more time in, you know, advanced after New Year's Eve. But I'm wondering at that point if things weren't as tight. Because remember, she said in those text messages, hey, we're single. I'm single. Da, da, da. I'm wondering if they weren't as tight as they were. Maybe they were spending time apart. So let's keep playing on.
Apologize. I don't want to keep rehashing this.
A few weeks later, they were invited to meet up with...
We go back. I'm just going to so you all can hear that again.
I felt very much taken advantage of. He apologized profusely for what happened on New Year's Eve. And he said, if you can't get over it, then you need to spend some time at yours. I can't keep apologizing. I don't want to keep rehashing this.
A few weeks later, they were invited to meet up with some friends at the Waterfall Bar in Canton. And there, they ran into Brian Albert, a fellow Boston police officer who Reed says O'Keefe looked up to. Albert had led the city's gang unit before commanding the Fugitive Apprehension Team. It was the elite squad responsible for taking down some of the city's most dangerous criminals and featured in the 2013 TNT show, Boston's Finest.
1 minute we're walking around, everything's
Look at Brian Albert. Look at, you know, this is back when he was on the show, but just look at how much he aged just in that time. And then how much he's aged in 2 years since taking the stand, and grows out the goatee. It's all gray, starts dressing like Mr. Rogers. You know, not that guy right there could kick your ass. That's a big dude. In 2013, he could kick your ass.
Fine, and then 1 minute it's not fine.
Both times I met Brian Albert, he seemed like the type of person that you'd be surprised he's out socially because he doesn't seem like he ever wants to be there.
But at the bar, Reed says there was an invitation to continue hanging out at Albert's home.
I said, can we make sure we're welcome here? Nobody extended the invite to me.
This is actually kind of interesting too. Karen's body language. And I'm sorry, I'm stopping a lot. I know I get yelled at that a lot. This is a live show where I'm feeding off the audience. So if you're watching this on replay, it's kind of what we do here. Karen's body language is, in my opinion, very honest here. She's kind of like, "Are you sure we're supposed to be going over there?" And you can kind of see her body language here.
I said, can we make sure we're welcome here? Nobody extended the invite to me. I didn't hear the invite extended to you.
They drive to the Alberts' house. What happens next is disputed.
So I pull at the foot of the driveway. It's snowing. John has no coat on. It's windy. So I drop him off. He goes up the driveway and approaches the side door. And as I see him approach the door, I look down at my phone.
Reed says after about 10 minutes of waiting in her car, she became irritated that O'Keefe still hadn't gotten in touch with her. And she drove back to his home where she continued calling him before, she says, she fell asleep around 1:30 in the morning. She then says she woke up before 5 a.m.
That's when I got the idea for this live. So I'm going to play out the rest of this video, and then we're going to go back and start at 1:30, and you're going to be blown away about all the things that happen. When you start seeing it in an actual full written timeline of all the nefarious things that were going on at 1:30 on, and I know we've heard the testimony, but I think when we just hear the testimony, you're only picking out bits and pieces. You know, obviously the Google search sticks in our 227 sticks in our head. Brian Higgins leaving at 1:30. I think all those little key points stick in our head. But when you start actually reading it out and then you start putting the visuals with it, you're like, holy shit, there's a lot of shit that went down from 1:30 to almost 6 o'clock in the morning. All right, let's play this out.
a.m., he still wasn't home. She then started canvassing the neighborhood.
Just going to drive around in the 2 square miles that we spent the preceding night.
After 20 minutes of unsuccessful searching, she called John's friend, Carrie Roberts, and Jennifer McCabe, Brian Albert's sister-in-law, who was also at his house the night before. The 3 women together now headed to Albert's home.
How soon was it when you pulled in there that you saw John's body?
Immediately. And what struck me when I saw him was his mouth was open a little bit and his eyes were shut and he had spots of blood in different areas on his face.
O'Keefe was taken to the hospital and pronounced dead. He died from blunt force trauma and hypothermia. And it wasn't long before Reed became the #1 suspect. Authorities say they had noticed a cracked taillight after they seized her car.
I had told both Jen and Carrie that I cracked my taillight. I said, I just hit my car on top of everything, but I didn't look at the damage. And both women said, it's cracked. It's cracked. Calm down. You cracked your taillight. You're okay. Let's go look for John.
But according to police statements, Jennifer McCabe told authorities that while they were looking for O'Keefe, Reed stated, "Could I have hit him? Did I hit him?" And when O'Keefe's body was discovered, first responders who arrived on the scene say they overheard Reed make other statements.
Firefighter said that you said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
I said, I hit him. It was preceded by a did and proceeded by a question mark. What I thought could have happened was that did I incapacitate him unwittingly somehow and then in his drunkenness passed out?
When you walked out of the bar, how many drinks had you had?
I had had probably about 4.
The Commonwealth says that you had 9 drinks that night. That's what the prosecution says.
I don't believe they're saying I wasn't in my right mind.
No, they were saying you were intoxicated. Is it possible that you might have hit him unwittingly in your admittedly very large SUV?
No, not possible.
3 days after O'Keefe was found dead, investigators arrested Reed for manslaughter. She was eventually indicted on second-degree murder. Investigators reported they found fragments of broken glass on the rear bumper on Reed's vehicle,
Phosphorus.
and that a broken cocktail glass was found by what appeared to be patches of blood near O'Keefe's body.
The victim, Mr. O'Keefe, is last observed on surveillance video with a cocktail glass in his right hand. Same arm that's injured, the same type of glass that is then recovered from the bumper of the defendant's car.
In court documents, the prosecution also claims that Reed's blood alcohol level could have been between 0.13 and 0.29%, above the legal limit of 0.08.
Could have been.
In addition, they say pieces of Reed's taillight were found on the scene the day O'Keefe's body was discovered. More fragments of that taillight were found the following week, according to Canton police reports, after the snow melted, which revealed more at the scene. But Reed's attorney, Alan Jackson, has a different theory about how those fragments of taillight got there.
Those pieces of taillight were placed there after the fact.
You're saying evidence was planted?
Fuck yeah, they were.
Pieces of taillight were planted after the fact.
What does the defense believe actually happened to John after Karen dropped him off?
I think he walked into the house. I think he was confronted, was likely brought down to the basement. I think that confrontation got physical, and he was beaten. He was beaten to a point of unconsciousness.
Jackson argues that the autopsy photos of O'Keefe support his theory and not the prosecution's claim.
Looks like he's been in a fist fight and he's been beaten. He's got some defensive wound bruises on the backs of his hand. He's got this massive laceration on the back of his head, a big giant gash, about 2.5 inches, exactly lateral, going from left to right. 2 black eyes, cut over his right eye, cut over his nose. This was a cover-up that John was murdered inside that house. His body was placed outside.
But in a statement to ABC News, the prosecution says there was no conspiracy or cover-up. Such claims have been systematically refuted by evidence submitted to Norfolk Superior Court. The prosecution also said that, according to O'Keefe's cell phone GPS records and 11 witness statements, O'Keefe never entered Albert's home, and that a medical examiner found no signs of Mr. O'Keefe being involved in any type of physical altercation or fight.
There was no evidence that Mr. O'Keefe was beaten and left for dead. There was no evidence of any defensive wounds.
ABC News reached out to attorneys for Brian Albert and Jennifer McCabe, but did not hear back by the time of this broadcast. In a previous statement to the Boston Herald, McCabe's attorney said the whole scenario is baseless. Reed is scheduled to appear next in court again in September.
All right. So I want to start at 1:30. Before we do that, I want to get to these super chats. Toots, I get what you're saying. And I kind of noticed that too. The way she's kind of pointing, it's like they're having a discussion inside the car. And that's a good observation. And I felt that way too when I saw that. She says, see how her left arm points. Are you sure we're welcome here? Pointing at him like they're in the car. She's very honest. Patrick is asking about the C's. I think the C's are going to sweep. I don't even think it's going to be even a competition. Thanks for the $2. Appreciate it. B, what do you have for the finals prediction season 6? I think they're going to sweep all the way through. I don't even think it's going to go 6. Toots. So they meant see how her right arm points as she's in the car. We welcome here, and she is honest. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. We're at $22 total. 25% would get kicked back. All right, let's go to the timeline now. If I can pull this off, I think it's going to work out really well. So let me pull up the timeline document. And kudos to the person that put this together in the Justice Group. So let's start at Jennifer McCabe. All right. So we're going to start here on line 50. I'm sorry. We're going to start here on line 46. So at 12:18:25 a.m., Jennifer McCabe arrives at 34 Fairview. Now, just kind of play along with me here. Let's try to get in that moment. I'm going to try to enhance this a little bit so everybody can see a little bit better. Okay. Let's try to get in that mind frame like you're there. Okay. Put yourself there in that moment. This has got to kind of work. If we can kind of go through this, but look how many times fucking Jennifer McCabe's name comes up. It's like shocking horror. It's the shock and horror. So 12:18:25 a.m. Jennifer McCabe arrives at 34 Fairview. Okay. You have Jennifer McCabe receives a call from the victim, John O'Keefe, answers 36 seconds, deleted from Jennifer McCabe's phone. Already deleting shit. Victim's phone data reflects a call to Jennifer McCabe. At 12:19:33 a.m., victim's first ping in the neighborhood near 34 Fairview. 12:24:28 a.m., victim arrives at 34 Fairview. At 12:27 a.m., Jennifer McCabe texts the victim here. At 12:29:44 a.m., Jennifer McCabe calls the victim, answers 8 seconds, then deletes it from her phone. Victim's phone data reflects a call from Jennifer McCabe. We saw that back and forth with Alan Jackson and Jennifer McCabe, and we're going to hear a little bit about that in a minute. At 12:30 a.m., grand jury testimony. Colin Albert returns to his parents' house residence a few houses down from where the victim lives. At 12:31 a.m., Jennifer McCabe texts the victim, "Pull behind me." 12:37 a.m., footage is missing from Canton Public Library at the precise time Karen Reed would have driven past it on her way home after allegedly hitting John. At 12:40 a.m., Jennifer McCabe texts the victim, "Hello." 12:41 a.m., Karen Reed is at the victim's home, leaves a voicemail for the victim, and you hear the garage door closing, car door closing, house door closing while she's walking in her high heels on the garage floor. 12:41. This is crazy. Jennifer McCabe calls the victim, answers, deletes the call. Jennifer McCabe at 12:41 and 59 seconds calls the victim again, deletes from her own phone. 12:42. Jennifer McCabe texts the victim, "Where are you?" 12:43. Jennifer McCabe calls the victim, unanswered, deleted after Jennifer McCabe's phone, off Jennifer McCabe's phone. 12:45. Text the victim, "Hello." Jennifer McCabe observes a black SUV pull away and leave. 12:46. Jennifer calls the victim, unanswered, deleted from her phone. And then you have another couple that she does in that order all the way up to 12:50. Now we're at 1 a.m. Interview and statement. All guests leave the Albert residence at 34 Fairview. Now you're at 1:30. Now Karen is home by this point. She says that she has fallen asleep by 1:30. This is where everything starts to take off. All right. 1:30 in the morning. Brian Higgins leaves 34 Fairview and goes to Canton Police Department to complete administrative work. At 1:30 a.m., the same time, Jennifer and Matthew McCabe leave 34 Fairview and bring Julie Nagel home on their way home. In an interview statement, Jennifer and Matt leave and bring Julie Nagel home and Sarah Levison home on their way home. And that's when the whole thing came up about the black blob that we heard in court supposedly was out on the lawn. At 1:47 a.m., now Karen's asleep. Jennifer McCabe leaves 34 Fairview. Now we're going to jump to 2:03. 2:03, Jennifer McCabe turns on to Lawrence Street. She's then going to turn on to Leonard Way and course her reverse. The course is reversed. At 2:12, Jennifer arrives at her residence. 2:15 a.m., Brian Lucky Loughren arrives at the barn to get in his dump truck and begin plowing. 2:22 a.m., call, text, search log. Brian Higgins and Brian Albert talk on the phone despite previously testifying both they were asleep, and that's the whole butt dial incident that we heard about. Now it's starting to get heavy. 2:25, Jennifer McCabe sends a text message. 2:25:56, Jennifer McCabe sends another text message. 2:26 and 37 a.m., Jennifer McCabe deletes 2 screenshots. Now here's the famous Hoss Long the Dying Cold. At 2:27 and 40 seconds, Jennifer McCabe does an internet search for the Hoss Long Dying Cold. Between 2:30 and 3 a.m., Brian Lucky Loughren sees a Ford Edge parked in front of 34 Fairview towards the left of the property facing Chapman. The vehicle remained there for at least an hour, and I cannot wait until Brian gets on the stand and talks about that. At 4:30 a.m., victim's niece is woken up by Karen Reed. At 4:53 a.m., Karen Reed and the victim's niece called Jennifer McCabe distraught because the victim had not come home. At 4:59 and 26 seconds, Jennifer McCabe calls the victim unanswered and then deletes that from her phone. 5 a.m. Kerry Roberts receives a call from Karen Reed stating that John did not come home. It was snowing and she was worried. Karen Reed stated to her, John is dead. Kerry, I'm wondering, is he dead? It's snowing. Did he get hit by a plow? At 5:04, Jennifer McCabe calls the victim unanswered and deletes that call. Karen Reed now at 5:05 calls the victim unanswered. I'm sorry, Karen Reed calls Jennifer McCabe unanswered. She deletes that from her phone. Jennifer McCabe deletes it. 5:05, Jennifer McCabe calls Karen Reed, answers 43 seconds. She deletes that from her phone. Karen Reed at 5:07, Karen Reed's vehicle backs out of victim's garage, striking the victim parked Chevrolet Traverse, and that's where we are now. And let's see that video. And this sample is from Court TV. I just enhanced it, so you can see her backing out. You can see it in large. Bam, right there. You can see the contact. Enhancement. And I'll put some arrows in here so you can see it. Let's back up. There it is right there. You can see the contact with John's SUV and Karen's SUV. Lunge forward. We'll do it again. You can see it. Let's go back again. Bam, right there. We'll go back one more time and then we'll play through. Bam, right there. I'll answer this really quick and fast. I support anybody that supports Karen Reed. That's my thought. I support anybody that supports Karen Reed because the bottom line is this. This is about Karen Reed. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about the 1,000 people that are watching in the chat right now. It is always about Karen Reed. That's all that matters. If anybody is out there supporting her, I support them. So that's what I think. All right, let's play a little bit more of this. I'm sure you all haven't seen this enhancement video, and I can drop the link to it if you want to watch it at a later time. All right, let's go. Now what we're going to do is play through here as you see Karen's SUV leave John's driveway, and you're going to see that light out on the rear passenger side. Check this out. And I've enhanced that as well. You'll see the enhancement here come into frame. Keep an eye on that tail light. And right there, bam, tail light is out. You still fully intact. Driver's side is fully illuminated. Passenger side is out. Driver's side fully illuminated. Passenger side is out. Let's back up and we'll play it again. You can see it come into frame here. Right there. Bam. Passenger side out. Driver's side fully illuminated. So that's where she made contact with John's SUV. We'll play through. Okay, so I kind of loop it a bunch of more times. We'll go back to the timeline here. Let's see. Okay, so we're at now 5:07. So now video footage. Karen Reed's SUV leaves the garage door, travels out of the driveway on a Meadows Ave and starts turning left on Pleasant Street. Let's go to this. Actually, you know what? I missed this. Let's go to the 227 Google searches. Alan Jackson on cross with Jennifer McCabe.
On the left one, some dates, some data, and then a Google search, correct?
Correct.
What does that Google search say?
House long to die in cold.
Now, you indicate that you did that, you made that search at 6:23 a.m., correct?
Correct.
And then you indicated that you did it again thereafter at 6:24, correct?
Correct.
At 6:24, you misspelled the phrase and you spelled it as follows: how long T-I die in CIKD, correct?
Let me just pause this real quick. So Lorraine says, is there video of law enforcement planting taillight pieces? Of course there's not. There's no video. No one's cameras worked on the street that night. You know why no one's cameras worked on the street that night? Because if cameras worked on the street that night, and I talked about this in my live with Turtle Boy last night, I said, if you wanted to nail Karen Reed, if you wanted to solidify her to murdering John O'Keefe, okay, then there would be a video immediately. And Mark Betterow agreed with me that the Commonwealth would have this video queued up, and their opening statement would be, Karen Reed murdered John O'Keefe, and I'm going to show you how. Bam, play the video. Well, there's no video because it didn't happen. And there's no video because we know of the cover-up. So mysteriously, everybody's camera didn't work in and around that time, didn't work afterwards. There's no video of anything. And if there was video of it and you wanted to sync Karen Reed, immediately you would say, here is my video, here is the video. Opening statement, Commonwealth, bam, Karen Reed, she's fucked. And she's done. But there's no video. We're never going to get a video because it didn't happen. All right.
Correct.
Now you claim that those two searches were at 6:23 and 6:24 a.m. respectively, correct?
Objection.
Phrase it differently.
Sure. You've indicated under direct examination that these two searches were at 6:23 and 6:24 a.m., right?
I don't know if I gave exact times, but I said it was in the morning and Karen had asked me to do it.
And you claimed that you searched it because Karen was screaming at you and yelling at you, Google hypothermia, and you Googled how long does it take for a person to die? I'm sorry, she said something like, how long does it take for a person to die of hypothermia? And you Google searched it at 6:23 and 6:24. Is that right?
Again, I'm not sure about the exact times. I just did it after Karen asked me to do it.
Would you quarrel with the idea that those were about 30 seconds apart?
Okay.
And you're aware, Ms. McCabe, that both misspellings of that phrase result in the exact same search results, don't they?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Well, you Googled them, ma'am. You're looking on your phone and you Googled it.
You Googled it.
How long to die in cold and how long to die in CIKD.
Now, keep in mind, too, the Commonwealth is going to have their Celebrite expert up there, and they're going to come up and they're going to say, essentially, the person from the company is going to say, Celebrite is so accurate, and it's the industry standard. But what the Commonwealth and what Lally's going to try to make you all believe is this, that in this certain situation, the 227 Celebrite's not accurate. That's essentially what they're going to do here. But we know that when the defense team gets up and has their Celebrite expert get up and essentially lock in this 227, it's going to just continue to make the Commonwealth look like fools. Let's see this. PB&J, thank you so much for the 1999er. Says, Karen Reed backed in the Officer John O'Keefe's vehicle. Who, if anyone, went to his driveway to confirm her claim? Any proof of the leaf-blowing taillight pieces there? Proof of damage to the SUV? Or more conveniently, missing investigation chances? So, like I said, they're going to try to say, well, it works in every other case at the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And I think that's going to run into a lot of issues too. And Mark was talking about this last night. He said, it'd be really terrible or detrimental that if you're in the Karen Reed case and your talking about Celebrite information that's not correct, but down the hall, they have a case that's leaning heavily on Celebrite information. You can kind of see what I'm going here with this one. Let's keep playing through this.
You Google them, right?
I did, yes.
And they result in the exact same search results, don't they?
I have no idea.
So my question to you is, why the two searches?
She was standing next to me, screaming, shaking my hand. My hand was cold. I was trying to Google it. Obviously, maybe whatever came up first didn't make sense because I had some misspellings, so I did it again.
So Haslam to die in cold results in articles concerning dying of exposure, doesn't it?
We never got the chance to read it.
Well, you're the one, when you say we, who's we?
Karen and myself.
Well, you're the one holding the phone, Ms. McCabe.
Correct.
So you're looking down at your phone and you see exactly what comes up, correct?
I don't remember exactly what came up.
Well, what came up was something about dying of hypothermia, didn't it?
That's what she asked.
So why do it again? Why do it again, Ms. McCabe? You had the result. Why the second search?
I cannot answer that beyond telling you that my hands were frozen. She was shaking me and screaming at me.
And you see the time, let me scroll up, please.
Deanna says, John O'Keefe's ring cam footage when Karen Reed first came home, is it missing? If so, I believe it happened when either Jen had it at 34 Fairview or when the Roberts had it. I believe it would have been Jen that erased. She had access to John O'Keefe. How about this? How about maybe they erased it and it didn't get put into evidence? You know, Michael Proctor's going to have a lot of things to answer to. Let's see. Wow, big Cash App just came through. Thank you so much. Let me just read this really quick. A $100 Cash App just came in, and we're going to take 25% of that and kick it back to Karen Reed. Let me just read this really quick, if I can find it. Sometimes I don't like the way Cash App has their app. Melanie says, just a $100 Cash App. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We'll add that to the 25%. And we'll keep the rolling total throughout the show. And then at the end of the show, what I do is I post receipts up on my Facebook page. I post receipts up on my YouTube community page. We'll have a final total at the end. And then what I do is, for ultimate transparency, you can go right to the Karen Reed Defense website, and it will say LTL Media Chat Raiser, and it will have the date 6/2/24, and then we'll put the total donation up there. All right, let's keep going on here.
According to the Celebrate data, you see this first search that says Haslam to die in cold?
I do.
There you go.
What's that time?
You've got the, it's right over at 2:27
AM or PM?
a.m.
I play dumb.
Ms. McCabe, you made that search at 2:27 a.m. because you knew that John O'Keefe was outside in your sister's lawn dying in the cold, didn't you?
Absolutely not. I did not make that search at that time. No.
Realized the next morning, after John was discovered, after 6 a.m., that you had an incriminating search on your phone, didn't you?
But it doesn't, but this is the thing, is it is 22G. It doesn't matter in this case, right? It doesn't matter in this case. And the scary thing about it, the Brian Walsh case, where Proctor's the lead investigator in that, and we've done shows about that, and I've compared it, the compare and contrast between the investigation in that case and the Karen Reed case. If you haven't seen that episode, go back and watch it. It's in my live feed, and I've compared that. And it's so detailed in the Brian Walsh case. And why were those searches so detailed, being able to be viable in the Brian Walsh case, but in the Karen Reed case, they are ignored. They're not even only ignored, they're saying that the Celebrite extraction during the 2:27 call is not factual. It's not factual. But in the Brian Walsh case, everything is fine. And that sick fucker was so fucked and so sick that he was using his kid's iPad to Google stuff about killing his wife. That's how crazy that guy was. Vincent, thank you so much for the 5. He says, tail lens is shatterproof. Sally Port video shows cops removing the entire light. Cops have had a smashed lens with a hammer and then planted the evidence. I think it's something like that too. I think you nailed it. We'll add that $5 to the running total. Thank you. All right, let's keep playing here.
Absolutely not.
To cover your tracks, you searched it again in order to overwrite the original search at 227, correct?
Again, absolutely not.
But you were nervous and you screwed it up. So the first search you made at 623 was Huss Long to die in CIKD, wasn't it?
No.
When you see the search right there, correct?
I see the search, but I disagree with your narrative.
And what's the time frame of that search?
Alan Jackson's his narrative. No, this is black and white data, Jen. You're being fucking pwned on the stand right now. It's black and white data. Data doesn't lie. It's there. I'm probably gonna say it's 99.99999% correct. You're being pwned right now.
623.
And you agree that time frame is accurate, right?
Again, it's what the report says.
And that comports with your memory of that morning, about 6:23 in the morning and 51 seconds.
Correct.
There's a second search, correct?
Correct.
And this one.
Oh, and furthermore, too, she Googled it again at 10 a.m. Keep that in mind, too. She's a fucking psychopath. She did it again at 10 a.m. Right on the bottom. And I'm surprised, Jackson, if it's right here. You can see it. She did it again. She's a fucking psychopath.
To die in cold. 6:24:16, correct?
Correct.
I'm sorry, 18. I was up that great. And that comports with your memory as well.
I remember Googling it at the request of the defendant. Yes.
About 27 seconds apart, correct?
Yes.
But the reality is your first search didn't comport with the 2:27 a.m. search, did it? It was a different spelling, wasn't it?
I never searched a 227. That is not reality.
But the 6:24 search.
What alternate planet are you on? I mean, that is reality. It's black and white data. It's right there. Black and white data, Jen. That was extracted off your phone and then says deleted. I mean, I'm trying to get to maybe the warped world and reality that you're in. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a different planet. Maybe we're supposed to be on Pluto to understand this, but I don't get it. Maybe someone can explain it here in the chat. But it's literally black and white data. I mean, it is what it is. Everything happened after that was fine. But at 227 just certainly didn't happen. Okay, that makes sense.
Exactly mirror the search that, according to this report, took place at 227, correct?
I'm sure Celebrate will be able to explain it to you. I can't.
And then of those three searches, one of them ended up deleted. Isn't that right?
I never deleted any search.
Take a look at the Celebrate report. Top search.
Deleted.
The column marked deleted. What do you see?
I see a yes.
Mr. McCabe, the reason you deleted that 2:27 a.m. call is because you realized that if you were caught Googling how long it takes for a person to die in the cold 3.5 hours before John's body was found, that would incriminate you, wouldn't it?
Objection.
The objection sustained.
Did you delete that search because you knew that you would be implicated in John O'Keefe's death if that search was found on your phone?
Objection.
Could you answer that, please?
I did not delete that search. I never made that search at 2:23. I never would have left John O'Keefe out in the cold to die because he was my friend that I loved.
But he's not your family, is he?
Friend that you loved, and I've talked about this before, the friend that you loved, that when you get there, back to 34 Fairview, the friend that you love, and we're going to hear the 911 call tonight, how calm she was. She didn't say, officer down. My friend is a Boston police officer, and he is down outside a house. Come quick. Send everybody. Officer John O'Keefe is down. He's not breathing. He's laying in the snow. He's out front. None of that. No panic, no nothing. Calmness. You know who we do hear panicking and screaming? And it's sad to hear this, Karen Reed in the background. No sense of urgency at all. Your friend that you loved, no sense of urgency at all.
Family and friends.
Objection.
Sustained.
You acknowledge that you made the search at 6:23, don't you?
In the morning, I did, yes.
You acknowledge that you made the search at 6:24.
Multiple times in the morning, yes.
Of the 3 searches that show up, that were all found on your phone, the one that you disavow is the one that took place at 2:27 a.m., which would implicate you and exonerate my client, correct?
Objection.
Sustained. Can I ask it differently, Mr. Jackson?
Of those 3 searches, there was only one marked deleted. Isn't that right?
Correct.
Andrea, thank you for becoming a new member. Let's add $5 to the total. 25% will get kicked back to Karen Reed tonight. Thank you.
Was the one at 2:27 a.m., correct?
I wouldn't even know how to go in and delete a
That's
search.
not what I asked you.
You don't.
The one according to the Celebrate report that was deleted, the one at 2:27 a.m., correct?
Correct.
You would agree that that's awfully convenient for you, isn't it?
Objection.
Sustained.
That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Lally?
All right, we'll move on here. All right, so let's go back to the timeline. So we are at where were we at? 5:08. Jennifer McCabe calls victim unanswered, deletes the call. 5:09. Jennifer McCabe calls victim unanswered, deletes the call. That's Jennifer McCabe deleting these. All right, 5:11 a.m. Video footage. Large black SUV travels down Sherman Street, takes a left onto Washington and travels in the direction of the waterfall. At 5:14, Jennifer McCabe calls the victim unanswered, deletes the call again. 5:15, video footage. Large black SUV travels away from the area of the waterfall on Washington, comes over to Sherman and continues on Washington towards the Temple Beth Abram. 5:18, large black SUV travels by the front of the temple towards the intersection of Washington and Dedham Street. That's Karen. 5:19, Karen calls Jennifer McCabe, answers 24 seconds. Jennifer McCabe deletes the call. 5:25, Jennifer McCabe calls the victim, unanswered, then deletes the call. 5:26, Jennifer McCabe calls Karen Reed, answers 95 seconds, and then what does she do? Deletes the call. 5:31, Jennifer McCabe calls the victim, unanswered, deletes the call. So she's doing this game. Karen, John, Karen, John, Karen, John, deleting all the calls. 5:32, Jennifer McCabe calls Karen Reed, answered 64 seconds, and then deletes the call. Now at 5:33, Jennifer McCabe calls Tom Beatty, unanswered, deletes the call from her own phone. 5:39, Jennifer McCabe leaves her residence. Kerry Roberts' interview falls behind Karen Reed's black SUV. 5:46, Jennifer McCabe arrives at victim's residence. 5:52, Jennifer McCabe calls victim unanswered, again, calls John again, deletes it from her phone. 5:52, McCabe calls Beatty, unanswered, deletes it again. 5:52, Jennifer McCabe leaves victim's residence. Let's see. 5:57. Jennifer McCabe is in the proximity of the Waterfall Bar and Grill. McCabe calls Beatty again, answered for 2 seconds, deletes the call. She arrives at 34 Fairview, and I screwed this up because I want to go back to this video here. I'm sorry, I skipped the video. This is the video of, remember, when they pulled in, and Kerry's there, Jen's there, they say, Jen testifies that Karen Reed points out as they go back inside John O'Keefe's house to look for John. Remember, Jen said, oh, Karen pointed out right in the driveway that she said, oh, she had a broken taillight, and we looked at it and conversated about it. Let's play that video. None of that even happened. None of that happened.
So, Ms. Roberts, do you recognize what's up on the screen?
Yes.
Fucking torches Lally here because he continues to play the video, and I'm going like this because this is obviously the first time we're seeing it in court. So they're playing this out. We watch Karen walk by. We watch Jen run into the house. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, they've gone inside the house. Are they coming back out? Like, where is this conversation that they had? It didn't happen. It didn't happen. You're going to see it here.
That's Karen's car and my car, and John's is in the background.
Now, in front of you on the desk, there should be a laser point. It's not. Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So pressing on that button and pointing sort of at the screen, if I could ask you just direct the jury's attention to where you see Ms. Reed's vehicle, where you see your vehicle, and where you see Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle with it all.
Oh, we're getting to that.
That is John's car. That is Karen's car. That is my car.
Is this a fair and accurate portrayal of sort of where the cars were and what things looked like when you first arrived at Mr. O'Keefe's house, coming from Ms. McCabe's house?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman, if you could. Now, with reference to any individuals that you observed in this video, again, using the laser pointer, you could draw the jury's attention.
There they are. Where is this conversation? Jen said, oh, we got out. And Karen said, I cracked my taillight. We walked over. We all looked at it. We conversated about it. It doesn't even happen here. By the way, Ellie, thank you so much for the $10. Says, why didn't they secure the scene, the house, and the others? Because this is a cover-up from the start. It's all botched. It's a bullshit investigation. They wanted a fall person on this, and they thought that the weakest person, the weakest link in all of this, because she is not connected to the family. She's not one of them. She's not a McAlbert. Who do we have to get this to go down to? Who are we going to take the fall? Who are we going to put this to take the fall on? Karen fucking Reed. And guess what? You messed with the wrong person because she wasn't going to go down this easy. And she got 3 fabulous lawyers to defend her. I think probably the only team that can handle something like this. And she fought back. And that's why they're trying to fight and keep this ivory tower in Canton so they don't get it knocked down. But clearly, I mean, as this trial goes on, day by day, there's so much mishandling and mishaps in this case. They're all going down. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, I haven't seen one thing here. What are we in week 5 of the trial? I haven't seen one thing here that is implicated that Karen Reed has murdered John O'Keefe. I mean, maybe someone in the chat can tell me. I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen it. All right, let's keep playing through.
Who you observe and where?
That is Jen McCabe, and that is Karen Reed, and that's me.
And at some point, you enter in through the garage. Is that right?
Correct.
Now, as far as the garage doors were concerned, when you came back that morning, what, if anything, did you notice about the garage?
The right garage door wouldn't close.
So it was open when you arrived?
I don't recall if it was open when we arrived, but when we were leaving, it wouldn't close.
And do you recall, do you have any idea of sort of how that mechanically worked, like how you would open, how you would close the garage door?
Yeah, there's a code on the side.
And at any point in time, whenever you noticed that the garage door was open, were you or any of the people that you were able to close that door?
No.
And so is that the door that you entered into in order to get into the garage, to get into the mud, and take off your shoes and go out?
Correct.
And when you came into the house that morning, and you entered into the mud, what, if anything, did you do with your shoes, and what, if anything, did you observe Ms. McCabe and the defendant do with their shoes?
Jen and I both had taken our shoes off in the.
Who the fuck takes their shoes off in a panicked situation? They have the thought and the foresight. They're fucking psychopaths. The thought and the foresight to go, oh, I'm going to take my shoes off while we go in and look for someone that a dear friend, remember, a friend of mine, Jennifer McCabe, a dear friend of mine. We're going to remember to take our shoes. That's fucking psychopathic behavior. Complete psychopathic. I'm sorry. If my girlfriend is missing and I haven't seen her and I run back to her house, I'm not taking my fucking shoes off when I go in the house. I'm running through the house, screaming her name, going, where are you? Casey, where are you? Casey, where are you? That's psychopathic fucking behavior. To go, oh, we took our shoes off before we went in the house. Are you fucking crazy? Crazy.
Sort of steps in the garage before we entered into the mudroom. We took our shoes off and Karen just walked in.
Yeah, because she's fucking worried. And she's like almost scolding her. Karen just walked in. Well, yeah, she's looking for John. John's fucking missing. I don't think that I would be in that frame of mind. Oh, before I go in the house, I know John doesn't like us to wear our shoes in the house. Oh, I should take those off. No, sorry. That sense of urgency. I'm busted through the door. I'm kicking the door in. I'm screaming. If I'm Karen, I'm screaming John's name everywhere. That is psychopathic behavior. Super psychopathic behavior. 499er. Thank you. A Sparky 2 says, dude, look at their car now versus the wellness check. Who pulled, I don't know what to say, who pulled edit forward? I don't know what you're trying to say there. All right, let's keep playing.
You could just play the video.
But where is this? Remember, Jen McCabe just before this said, oh, and Karen pointed out that her taillight is cracked, and we stopped and we noticed it and we looked at it. Where the fuck did they do that? They didn't do that there. And then I'm sitting here and I'm going, all right, well, we're waiting. Are they coming back out? Are they going to point it on the way out? Like, what's going on? And this kind of burns Lally because this goes like another 30 seconds. So I'm waiting like they're coming out. And they didn't come out. And now I'm going, Lally's just thinking himself. And look at, you can almost even see Karen's lights like fully intact right here. You can almost see it. Look at the whole lens is illuminated. It's like fully intact. It's fully intact. But where's the conversation? This just burns Lally right here. I was laughing. Excuse me. So then I'm like, all right, so they're coming back out. They're going to have a conversation. Nope. All right. So let's go back to the timeline. So we are at, let's see. Okay, here. So we had 6:57 and 38 seconds. Jennifer McCabe calls Tom Beatty, answers 2 seconds deleted from Jennifer McCabe's phone. Now we're at Fairview. 6:03, Jennifer McCabe arrives at 34 Fairview. 6:03 and 47, Jennifer McCabe calls 911. Answered 3 minutes, 32 seconds, then fucking deletes that from her phone. She's a psychopath. She's a complete fucking psychopath. Let's see. Wellness check, the SUV. I even pulled Al all the way up. Still not getting it. We'll add the 5. Let's go back. Let's listen to the 911 call. All right, here we go. This is the one that I enhanced.
Yes, I need someone to see 34th Fairview Road, Whitman. There's a man trapped out in the snow.
There's a man trapped underneath the snow. Not Boston police officer, my friend John O'Keefe is down in the snow. Officer down, send help now. None of that. There's a man down in the snow.
Yeah, I don't know why he did that. I can consent. Okay. I know. Where's blanket? I don't see blanket, Terry. Yes, I need some.
He's freezing, Karen says. Get him up, get him up. Jen McCabe says right there, he got out of the car. Did you hear that? And I know it's a little tough to hear. She says on the 911 call, I don't know what happened. He got out of the car. Let's go back. She says John, and I forgot, did you say 46 years old? And then she says, I don't know what happened. He got out of the car.
I don't know. He got out of the car and it could be an operator. Carrie? I did.
Vincent, $2 says, she said, under the snow, snowplow story. Let me go back because I know a lot of people are requesting to hear that again. She said, I don't know. He got out of the car. Well, if you get out of the car, how would you know that? Supposedly you were inside 34 Fairview. Mary, thank you so much for the $15 Cash App. She says, thanks for donating portion to the Karen Reed Fund. Absolutely. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Support Karen Reed 100% here. And, since trials started, I've kicked back 25%. I think the total the other day we've raised so far in just 5 weeks, $1,200 kicked back to Karen Reed's defense fund. All right, let's keep playing that. Let's hear it again.
John,
46 years old.
I don't know. He got out of the car and it could be an operator. Carrie?
I don't know what happened to get out of the car.
I know, I'm on the phone with the ambulance. I know, honey,
Thank you, Robin. That's haunting. The windshield wipers are haunting. Bad Lady Vet says, I had to wait 5 minutes, but I say keep speaking the truth. America's living in a Baja. It's crazy times in America right now. I'm not going to get into a bunch of politics. I understand this is a very political case, but there's a lot of stuff that's just going on in our world and our nation right now. Things that I just try to understand, but I cannot understand it. And I think all of you are probably feeling the same way too. It is crazy. All right, so let's go back up to the timeline. That was the 911 call. So now we're at 6:04. Officer Sarif is the first officer to arrive on the scene, where he observes 3 females waving him in front of the yard of the area of the residence. This is Karen Reed, Jennifer McCabe, and Kerry Roberts. Let's play that video.
Right about now, I believe I put the spotlight on.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry, Ms. Cummings. If you could just sort of run it from this point to about the 4-minute mark, and then I'd ask you to.
Right there.
Right there. Now, Officer Sarif, this is you were testifying earlier as far as the vehicle in front of you that you observed first, and then sort of the parties off to your left as far as the 3 females waving and Mr. O'Keefe on the ground, correct?
That is correct.
And if you could, just using that laser pointer, direct the jury's attention to number 1, where the vehicle is that you observed in front of you, and then number 2, where you observed the 3 females and Mr. O'Keefe on the ground.
So here's the vehicle.
Nick Rocco in the chat. What's going on, Nick? Thanks for popping in. We're gonna keep playing through this Officer Sarif's video here.
Right there, and the females are right there.
Thank you, sir. Now, Ms. Gilman, if you wouldn't mind just running this straight through until about 7.5 minutes.
Deanna, thank you so much for the 10. She's extremely sad. I can hear the ache in her voice. My heart believes, believe it, because they just found John O'Keefe for the first time. The other two, at least Jen for sure, had hours to process what happened already. Yeah, I completely agree. You know, I hear so much genuine angst in Karen's voice when I listen to that 911 call. That is something that someone can't trick or fake or act. You know when someone's acting. That's genuine crying out for her boyfriend, that she doesn't have any idea of what happened to him. You can't make that up. That's genuineness from the heart. That's a soul screaming out. You know, and don't let anybody else tell you otherwise, because believe me, I've been in those situations quite a few times. You know, I've lost my best friend. When I got the news about that, I had that in my voice as well. When I got the call from my sister that told me that my brother took his life, I had that same angst in my voice as well. You drop to the ground. You can't believe it. And I'm sure all of you have been in those types of, probably in those types of situations, at least once in your life, I would think. Lost a friend, a loved one. You know it, and you can feel it, and it's in your voice, and it just takes your body out of it. You lose yourself. You fall to the ground, and you're going to see that. You see Karen here, very emotional, very, very emotional. I've been there. I've been in those spots. It's not fun. Thank you. Yes, it's primal. It's an instinct inside. Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, look at Karen. She dropped. That reaction when you're covering your mouth like that, like I said, that it's, I think the perfect word is the primal instinct. That's your heart. That's inside you. And you go up and you're like, oh my God, and you grab your head. Does that look like to you someone that wanted to commit second-degree murder? If Karen Reed wanted to kill John O'Keefe, why would she have not just continued to sleep that morning and get up at 9 o'clock and flip some eggs and make some breakfast? No, you know who the person was that did that? Jennifer McCabe. That she was such in a rush to find out where John O'Keefe was. You know what she did? She went downstairs that morning and made a cup of coffee. That's a fucking psychopath. That's a psychopath. That she had the wherewithal to make a cup of coffee. That's a psychopath. I went downstairs and made coffee. Nick Rocco chiming in, $5.99 says St. Martin giveaway on the Justice page for a week, one week stay. Thanks LTL for doing what you do. No, Nick, thank you everything that you have done for Karen Reed. And I want to say this as well. A lot of people came in early. There was a super chat that came up and they said, what do you think about all the drama? I'm going to tell you this, and I've said it before. I support anybody that supports Karen Reed, because the bottom line is this. It's not about me. It's not about any of the people in this chat. It's not about anybody else. It's about Karen Reed in getting justice for John O'Keefe. And I support any single person that can support Karen in a positive way, continue the message, continue the fundraising, the phenomenal fundraising. What I do here, and I don't know if you know, Nick, I kick back 25% of everything that comes in to Karen. We post it up for transparency. If anybody can do anything to get her message out, get it to the next person, keep telling her story, because this is real. Corruption does happen. People don't want to admit it. And I've talked about this. People don't want to admit it. There is corruption in all lines of work. But I'm telling you right now, there has to be checks and balances in that Canton Police Department. There has to be checks and balances in the Massachusetts State Police. And there definitely has to be checks and balances with the old ivory tower, the McAlberts. They need to be checked and balanced. And I believe and I hope in my heart of hearts, when this is over and there is a federal investigation and Karen Reed is completely exonerated and innocent of all these charges, that the tides turn and people start looking a little bit deeper. The sad thing about it, all of the physical evidence in this case has been fucking destroyed. Where John laid out in that snow, and I saw some awfully weird things about some of the photos that we saw. Why were there all the footsteps behind his body? I found that to be strange. And I get it. Cruz might have came in and walked around in the area. That was a little strange too, of where his body was on the snow. Let's see. Bad Lady Vet, a $2.99er, a $1.99er, rounded up to $2. Says facts. Thank you so much. But again, anybody that supports Karen in a positive way and can do anything to help her out, because this could be you. This could be your child. It could be a family member that's in this situation. It could be me, you know? And we just need to continue to keep the positivity going. Karen Reed is going to walk out of that courtroom an innocent woman. I'm telling you. All right, let's keep playing through this. Does that look like someone that wanted to fucking murder someone right now, running around like that? WB, thanks for the 2. Now, this is stinking Lally. Awesome, Nick. You do a great job, man. Everybody does their part. Thank you, Jay. Thanks for being here. Pause this real quick and read this $10 super chat. $10 Canadian super chat. Thank you so much. What gets me is how annoyed Jen is that Karen is calling out her name in anguish. If I had an ounce of compassion, she would rather see this annoying. She would help her out, rolling my eyes. I completely agree. WB, thank you for the 5. Excuse me. Karen still panicking.
Just one moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Oh, KC, by the way, that's the Susan. Not saying anything bad about you, Susan. We had another Susan in here earlier that was trolling in the chat. I had to bounce her out. But no, this is the good Susan. All right, let's keep playing. Okay. No more of that. We'll go back to the Google document, and kudos to the person that put this on in the justice group. All right. So now we are at 6:04, 6:07. And Again, Jennifer McCabe, fucking psychopathic behavior. 6:07. Jennifer McCabe calls Nicole Albert. Answered 9 seconds. She fucking deletes that call from her phone. 6:08. Jennifer McCabe calls Nicole Albert again. 7 seconds, deletes the call again. 6:08. Jennifer McCabe takes a screenshot of Brian Albert's contact information. At 6:23, because now she's going to delete it. At 6:23, calls Brian Albert. It's unanswered and deletes the call from her phone again. Now we're at 6:23. Remember, 6:23, 6:23, and 6:24. Those are okay. Those searches, Jennifer McCabe says, absolutely did it because Karen was telling me to do it, pulling on my arm. It was cold. I have MS. But 6:27, Cellbright's got it wrong. You're all crazy. It didn't happen. 6:23:49. Jennifer McCabe does an internet search. How long does it take to digest food? This is fucking weird. 6:23:51. Does an internet search. How long T.I. die in cold COKD? 6:24. Lank arrives at 34 Fairview. And we're going to get to that in a second. 6:24. McCabe Googles Hoss Long to die in cold. That's to cover the 6:27 to say, oh no, I Googled it at 6:24. Jennifer McCabe calls Matt McCabe, answers 19 seconds, and fucking deletes it from her phone again. Now you have 6:38. State Police CPAC unit is contacted. Here we go. Trooper Proctor called back within a few minutes and was made aware of the situation. 6:47. Jennifer McCabe receives a call from Matthew McCabe, answered 18 seconds, deleted from Jen. She's deleting all these calls. Why are you deleting all this? And then she says, I don't know how to delete this stuff. 6:52. Jennifer McCabe rejects a call from Matthew McCabe, deleted from Jennifer McCabe's phone. 7:21. Jennifer McCabe calls Karen Reed, unanswered, deletes the call from her phone. At 6:21, Jennifer McCabe receives a call from Karen Reed, answered 2 minutes, 19 seconds, and then deletes it from her phone. Lank leaves 34 Fairview and returns to the Canton Police Department. But let's go back because I want to show you this. Let's go back to this video. David and Eddie on cross. Jennifer McCabe. I'm sorry, Alan Jackson. Oh, where's the sound?
Do you recognize your dash cam video being on the left of the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you looked at Sergeant
sorry,
Good's dash cam video, which is
with the
squared up
Sarah.
on the right side of the screen?
No.
You've never seen it?
No.
Okay. Does it appear to you that these are two different perspectives of the same scene? In other words, you see the car or the SUV on the left side of the screen right here, correct?
Yes, sir.
See that same SUV right there, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does that appear to be two different perspectives, two different angles
Yes.
of basically the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. I want to draw your attention to the individuals to the left of the SUV right here. There's a person wearing a hood with fur on it. Is that Carrie Roberts? Do you remember?
I don't know.
Okay. There appears to be another person with a darker jacket standing just in front of that person with the hood and fur. You see that person?
Yes.
Got a heavy sigh from the judge right there.
I'm going to ask you to focus on the person in the darker jacket.
Sure.
Oh, shout out
I
to
believe,
Nerdy.
and the only reason I'm asking you to.
Gotta have the court TV stream, but it is what it is. He's going to probably have some things to say here. I thought I just had the straight court TV. That's okay.
To focus at this point is because I want to try to play this just once and see if you recognize what's depicted in the video.
Do this. I'm going to try to not play this. See if I can find just the straight court TV because I don't want to get his commentary in here. No offense to Nerdy Addict. Let's do this. Cross. I want to get to that video. Here we go. Okay, I got it. I'm going to bounce out of this one because I just want to be uninterrupted. Okay. Here we go.
correct?
Yes, sir.
See
I'll
that
turn it
same
up.
SUV right there, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does that appear to be two different perspectives, two different angles,
Yes.
but basically the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. I want to draw your attention to the individuals to the left of the SUV right here. There's a person wearing a hood with fur on it. Is that Carrie Roberts? Do you remember?
I don't know.
Okay. There appears to be another person with a darker jacket standing just in front of that person with the hood and fur. You see that person?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the
I'm going to ask you to focus on the person in the darker jacket.
Sure.
I believe, and the only reason I'm asking you to focus at this point is because I want to try to play this just once and see if you recognize what's depicted in the video.
Sure.
What I expect you may see is this person move out of sight behind the SUV,
That's Jennifer McCabe.
and then in the background there's an SUV parked in the driveway. Pay special attention to that portion of the SUV and see if you see that person in the dark jacket pass from right to left in front of that SUV as if they're going to the house. Let's go ahead and play it. Go ahead and pause it. Have you seen the person in the dark jacket leave the view?
Yes.
Did she appear to go behind the SUV?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and play it. Go ahead and stop track. And now I'm going to ask to draw your attention to that car with snow on it. Pay special attention to that car as the film continues to run. Go ahead. Pause. Do you see a person standing in front of the car?
Appears to be a person. Yes.
Walking from right to left?
Yes.
Would that be toward the house?
Yes, it would be.
Okay. And also, if you wouldn't mind switching your perspective, now you're looking more at the front of the house. Continue watching the film and see if you see that same person walking toward the house. Okay, stop. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes. I saw the shadow. Yes.
Right. Shadow of a person
Yes.
walking toward the front of the house. That was Jennifer McCabe going into the house, wasn't it?
I have no idea.
Was it a person going into the house?
It was a person. Yes.
Did you give anybody any permission to go into the house?
No, not my own.
Would you think that a witness in a homicide scene, we can go ahead and raise the lights. Thank you. Would you think that a witness at a homicide scene being allowed to go into a house to make contact with other witnesses?
I didn't know it was a homicide scene, sir.
If I could finish my question.
It wouldn't fucking matter if it's a homicide scene or an accident scene. If there's people out there and you're a responding officer and you don't know what's going on and you're trying to gather intelligence and information as to what's going on, I know in my right mind, I wouldn't let anybody wander off. There's someone that's dead and dying out on the front lawn of a police officer, and I'm probably sure by now Karen has told him, and there's been some conversation, this is a police officer. That's one of your own. See what I'm getting at? Where you going? Hey, you, come here, come back here. Where you going? I don't know what she has. I don't know if she has a gun or a knife that she's trying to hide. I don't know if she's trying to pull evidence away from the scene. And she's just going to be allowed to, oh yeah, just go wander in there in the house. It's fine. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jennifer McCabe. See ya.
Question. Do you think it's appropriate for a witness at a potential homicide scene, an unconscious person scene, whatever crime scene,
Yes.
Right.
to make contact with other witnesses and begin discussing
No.
the situation unsupervised?
Can you rephrase that question, sir?
Do you think that's an appropriate thing to have happen?
It's pretty easy. I mean, come on, man.
I have no answer for that, sir. I don't know what you're asking.
Officer Seraph, when you go to a crime scene,
Yes, sir.
one of the first things that you want to do is secure the scene and separate witnesses so that interviews could be conducted, correct?
Sure.
You wouldn't want witnesses just cavorting together and getting their story straight, right?
Correct.
You'd want to avoid that at all costs,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And why is that?
So they can't collaborate their story.
Yet there was a person walking from the area where a body was found in the lawn of a house, walking into the house to make contact with other individuals, correct?
It appeared that way, yes, sir.
Does that seem appropriate to you?
No.
It's the question. Yeah. Problem is, and nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen to these people. They're not gonna get fucking fired. They're not gonna be reprimanded. Nothing's happened to these people that are all involved in this. This schmo will probably keep his job. I mean, you're essentially saying that you broke code and ethics. You allowed someone to walk off a scene that you just got there. You're just responding officer. You're going to allow people to walk away? You should be fired. Should be fired. Really quick, read this $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Crystal says, if Jen was so concerned, why wasn't she rushing into the house to grab Brian as she was on the phone with 911? It's a great point. I would run up, knock on the door. Brian, Albert, get out here. None of that happened. She said she went up in the room. She didn't know if the dog was there. I'm sorry. If my protector, my dog, is in the room, the dog would jump up. The dog would alert. Just like Brian Albert. Oh, Jennifer McCabe comes running in the house and the dog doesn't jump up. The dog doesn't alert. It runs into your bedroom. The dog's not going to alert you. It's preposterous. It's absolutely preposterous. These people are fucking psychopaths. They're psychos.
We've talked a bit about what you did and didn't hear at the scene from my client. At any point when you were at that location, did you hear my client repeating the phrase, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him?
She said, I hit him? No, I didn't hear that part.
You never heard her whisper it, yell it, say it, or otherwise?
Not that I recall.
If you had heard that statement, you likely would have written it down, wouldn't you?
Yes.
You likely would have reported that to Trooper Proctor the next day, wouldn't you?
Yes.
You likely would have mentioned it in your grand jury testimony, correct?
Yes.
And you did none of those things because you did not hear that statement, correct?
I did not hear that, no.
Sir, you were at 34 Fairview for more than an hour before you cleared the scene, right?
Yes, sir.
You were at the location of the body of John O'Keefe.
Yes.
In other words, you just didn't stay in your cruiser. You walked out to where John O'Keefe was.
No, I was in my cruiser at different times. I
Must have been a bad question.
Okay.
You didn't just stay in your cruiser. At points, you got out of your cruiser, walked over, made contact with the women, and you were standing next to the body.
Yes.
And you were obviously looking around. You noticed some footprints.
Yes.
And you even noticed some lack of footprints.
That's correct.
So you were being observant at the area of the body
Yes.
and the area adjacent to the body.
Yes.
You were looking for anything that might have been out of place?
Yes.
Anything of any evidentiary value, correct?
But you let people walk away from the scene. You're looking for all this stuff, but you let people walk away from the scene, or let one person walk away from the scene. You go inside the house where this man, dead police officer, dying police officers on the lawn. You're gonna let them walk away, go in the house. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
You never saw or otherwise observed, located a single piece of taillight material, did you?
Nope.
No.
Wasn't
You
there.
certainly didn't see 45 pieces of broken plastic or tail-like materials?
No.
You never located or otherwise observed John O'Keefe's missing
No.
shoe?
No.
See, that's a checkout move. Put his glasses away. He's checked out. He knows. He knows he didn't see all this shit. He knows it's all.
Or any other clothing of his?
I didn't. No.
Officer Schraff, did you ever think to look inside the house
No.
for that missing shoe?
No.
That never
Bad
crossed your
move.
mind?
No.
You think that might have been a smart thing to do at the time?
Objection, Your Honor.
Rephrase the question.
Sure. Do you think that would have been appropriate protocol when dealing with a body laying on a lawn that is partially unclothed to look inside the house of the lawn?
No.
You didn't think that would have been an appropriate protocol
No.
for you or anybody else?
No.
Bad policing.
Obviously, you did not conduct a search of that house, did you?
Nope.
He sounds proud of it.
And you're aware that to this
Nope. Nope. Does he sound proud of it? Nope. Nope. Sure didn't. Nope.
day, no law enforcement officer ever conducted a search of that house?
I'm not aware of
that. You're great. Great police work.
Yeah, just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna bounce out. All right, let's finish this up. So again, I wanted to give everybody kind of a visual presentation. Now that we've seen the evidence come into the trial over the last 5 weeks, I wanted to read through that timeline and kind of line up some videos with it. So I hope you got a good representation. I wish I was able to spend a little bit more time on it, but I think that we kind of got the point through. But I want to finish tonight with the biggest liar in my book in all of this right now, and that's Brian Higgins. Let me just pull this up. Amanda, thank you so much for the 5. Says thank you for all you do. Hashtag free Karen Reed. Absolutely. Let's play through Brian Higgins, the biggest liar. Well, besides Jennifer McCabe, but I think Brian Higgins is a key player in this all too. I think the 3 key players, in my opinion, Brian Higgins, Brian Albert, and Jennifer McCabe. My theory, and I'll give you my theory, and it differs from TB, and we talked a little bit about on his show. He's really stuck on Brian Albert. He believes that Brian Albert, and again, if I get this right, he believes that Brian Albert was the primary aggressor. I think the primary aggressor is Brian Higgins. I think with the text messages, I think that, wanting Karen, and he was, I know TB was like, you kind of just going to ignore that. I don't think that would be. To me, I feel like that would be a motive for Brian Higgins. Or how about this? How about John knew or John discovered something and had something in the back of his mind that Karen and Brian Higgins were talking and kind of kept that in the back of his mind. They go out to the waterfall that night, and let's say he sees maybe on the trip over to 34 Fairview, the well text. And then maybe says something to Karen in the car about it, or saw it and didn't say anything and had that on his mind and went in and maybe had a conversation or a confrontation, and that's what started the fight. Or the other scenario that I've had was Brian Higgins was the primary aggressor with John, and that whole, like, if I can't have her, you can't type of thing too. And believe me, a lot of people are probably not going to agree with me, but that's kind of where I stick with all of this. And then possibly Brian Albert jumped in, and then it just gets super out of hand, and that's where all the cover up came with Jennifer McCabe. So that's kind of where I'm at in all of this. Truthfully, we're never going to really know what happened. I think we can get very close to the truth. But we're never going to really know. A lot of people think drugs are involved. Quite possibly. I don't know. I don't know. But that's where I see it. People are drinking a lot of alcohol that night. There was probably, or I also saw another scenario too. How about this? We saw Brian Albert and Brian Higgins playing grab ass. Okay. John goes back to the house. They try to play kind of that game with John. John's drunk, not having it, starts a pushing fight, and that's it. Something gets out of hand. KC says, and her and I have a lot of conversation because obviously we date. She said, I think John saw the text from Higgins in the car and they argued. So John got out, went inside, saw Higgins, confronted him, and it went down from there. And that's kind of the timeline I stick on this. Casey and I have had a lot of conversation about this, but I hope we know. I hope we get there someday, but I don't think we're ever going to really know. But let's listen to one of the other biggest fucking liars. And this guy has destroyed key evidence in this case. And in my opinion, should be arrested and facing federal charges, and not even just for the fact that he used federal resources for his own personal gain, but destroyed evidence after not told to.
At 5:42 and saying, shut the barracks.
Objection.
Sustained.
I want to get to the
Do you remember
federal.
any kind of call shutting the barracks, meaning shutting the Sally Port?
Objection.
Do you remember that?
I don't remember anything
Hold
like that,
on,
Your Honor.
Your Honor. Hang on.
Were you being provided information from your friend, Chief Berkowitz, about the progress?
The federal. I think this is it right here. Here we go.
By the time you interviewed with Trooper Proctor, you had already had numerous conversations with Brian Albert. Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
Well, the interview was with both
100%.
Trooper Proctor, Trooper.
Admitted to the federal crimes. Understand why that guy was not arrested and let out of court in handcuffs is beyond me. Beyond me. Scott says ATF agent Brian Higgins literally admitted to federal crimes. The jury may be a bit in the dark, though. The jury hasn't fully informed about the FBI investigation. The jury has to figure it out. Well, it's been mentioned. So Nick chiming in says, think about it. They are putting Higgins' Jeep at the mailbox. They have no other explanation for the cut on his head. So the state, I think, will try and say when Karen hit. I think he's probably got a little bit more. No, I thought he was chiming in more.
Sergeant Buchanan. And of course, I've talked to Brian Albert because of what took
Mr.
place.
Higgins, that was a yes or no question.
Yeah, of course I've talked to him, yes.
Okay, and the answer is yes, right? Can we agree?
The answer is yes.
Thank you. By the time you spoke with Trooper Proctor and Trooper Butnick, you had already had numerous conversations with Chief Berkowitz, correct?
Yes.
When she hit him, he went back and hit his head on the plow. I got what you're saying, Nick. Right.
You had already had numerous conversations with Kevin Albert.
Yes.
You had already had this meeting with the Alberts and the McCabe's over at 34 Fairview. Is that right?
I went to the house.
And discussed this case, as you earlier described in your testimony.
I discussed what we were trying to figure out what happened.
You discussed this case, Mr. Higgins.
Well, at that point, it wasn't a case.
Okay, I'm not parsing words about what a case is versus a matter versus an issue. You understood my question, didn't you?
Yes.
Is there a reason you don't want to answer that question?
I don't have a problem.
Objection, Your Honor.
No. Is there a reason? Why don't you go ahead and explain?
Well, I feel you're trying to make it sound like something it wasn't. It was.
I'm not trying to make it sound like anything, sir. I'm asking a question. Had you discussed this case or the issues surrounding this case with those folks?
I did discuss things when I went back to the house, yes.
And that was before you met with Trooper Proctor and Trooper Butnick, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
You had already spent an enormous amount of time at Canton PD. We've just gone through those records. Is that right?
I have been at Canton PD, yes.
And you had been able to talk to, you had access at least to all the officers, correct?
What do you mean by, can you
Anybody that was coming and going at Canton PD?
Access for what purpose?
Just to walk by them, to hear what they were saying, see what they were doing.
Yeah, it's not what I was doing, no.
I'm not accusing you of doing anything. I'm saying you had access to the individuals within the Canton PD, correct?
To interact if needed, yes.
And very obviously, you had access to the Sally Port.
Had access, yes, and that's a cut through I used all the time.
And anything that was in it, correct?
I wouldn't need anything in it.
It was only after all that Michael Proctor thought that you were worthy.
I'm going to speed up. I want to get to the federal crimes that he essentially admits to. Let's see. Just don't want to miss it.
Your client, or a couple of questions he's about to ask your client. Doesn't make any sense to me that somebody has counsel and the counsel is not aware of a potential issue. So you'll hear the offer of proof. I'll let you speak to Mr. Higgins before this actually happens before the jury.
Could I just have him identify?
Yes, I was just going to ask you to identify yourself.
Sure, my name is William Connolly, spelled Connolly.
All right.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
The witness has indicated that he utilized federal resources for personal gain. The specifics of that testimony have been as follows. He indicated that he contacted Matt Kelch, a federal agent. He indicated that he utilized a federal facility. He called it an unsecure facility, but it's a federal facility notwithstanding. And that the two of them, he and Agent Kelch, utilized federal resources in the form of some kind of a machine, as the witness indicated, for his own personal gain, so that he could, as a witness, in no official capacity, working any official case, and in Matt Kelch's capacity as an individual rather than an agent, they both work together to download certain information from the witness's phone in anticipation of turning that highly selected, highly curated information over to law enforcement so that he could later ultimately destroy his phone, which this witness in fact did.
Okay, so it's not entire. I disagree with you. I don't think it's reached that level. His testimony was that he went to a kiosk on the first floor where all local police departments can go. It's unrestricted. It's on the first floor.
But Bev is not, Bev is protecting him right now. He did this for personal gain. He did this to hide information, to take selected pieces of information and say, oh yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Karen Reed stuff. I'm gonna show them all the personal text, but everything else I'm gonna hide, and then I'm gonna destroy my phone so no one can have it.
And we just got to the part about a machine in the kiosk when you mentioned an FBI resource. So what is your question? What
was your question?
What questions do you intend to ask this witness now?
Whether he's aware that under 5 CFR 2635.702, it is a federal offense to use his to use any public office for his own private gain or for the gain of persons or organizations with which you are associated personally. In other words, an FBI agent or an ATF agent cannot use federal resources for personal gain. The fact that he contacted an ATF agent, the fact that he utilized a facility that is owned by the federal government, run by the federal government, paid for by taxpayer dollars, and the fact that he used a machine that is owned by the federal government to download certain information for his own personal gain, that personal gain being, these are the curated texts that I'm going to turn over to law enforcement, that's a federal offense.
I
All right,
agree.
so those questions are going to be asked. I don't know, there's been an objection to them. I'm not sure I'm going to let them in. But I wanted to give you the opportunity to speak privately.
When I first heard that, she was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to let them in. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Should have saw my reaction that day. I lost my shit.
With your client in the back room there. Can you do it in short order? Or do you need more time?
I can do it in about 10 seconds.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
If you feel the need.
So why don't you go back and talk to him? I'll stop bringing the jury or getting the jury lined up to come back. Okay.
Before.
Let's listen to the liar now. The liar. Here he comes in. And then Alan Jackson's going to shred this guy in about 2.5 seconds.
Be seated for the session.
All right. We have a very few minutes left,
Caroline.
Mr. Jackson.
Understood.
And I love when she puts the timeline on it. Oh, we got a few minutes, so this means get this along. You know, I don't even know how much of this I'm going to let in. Come on. 10 seconds is a lot of time. We timed it out. Remember, 22 seconds. Remember when I timed 22 seconds? It's a lot of time. And what I did was I played testimony, and there was 3 questions asked by Alan Jackson in 22 seconds. You don't think that conversation between Brian Higgins and Brian Albert, that there wasn't a lot said in 22 seconds? You damn right there was. You damn right there was. Mike Rudot's checking in. He says he got the witness to confess to a felony in front of the jury. Just incredible. I agree. Good stuff. And I don't know how this guy wasn't brought out in handcuffs and arrested. Should have been. All right, let's listen to the big liar here, and then we'll wrap up the show.
Mr. Higgins, you indicated that the phone was hooked up to some sort of machine at the FBI kiosk, correct?
Yes.
You're aware, sir, that under 5 CFR 2635.702, you may not use your public office for your own personal or private gain, or for the gain of persons or organizations with which you are associated personally, under pain of a federal offense, correct?
Objection.
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Are you aware that under 5 CFR 2634.704, it's a felony to quote?
Objection, Your Honor, as to reading.
Go ahead and finish the question.
For an employee, I'm sorry,
Shame.
an employee has a duty
Look at
to.
him. Shameful. Look at that shameful face. He knows he broke these laws. He knows he covered evidence. He knows he destroyed evidence. Look at him. Shame in front of those jurors right now. Jury of your peers. They're looking right at you, buddy. They're looking at you right now. I know he's not on trial, but I'm saying should be on trial.
To preserve and conserve government property and shall not use such property or allow its use for other than authorized purposes. Were you aware of that federal regulation?
That objection sustained.
Sir, notwithstanding those regulations, you utilized the services of Matt Kelch as a friend and a colleague, but utilizing federal resources to pull information off your phone, correct?
Objection.
Sustained as to that form.
In fact, you were successful in getting information off your phone, which is the text that you turn over to the Commonwealth, correct?
Objection.
In that form, you're almost there, Mr. Jackson.
Look at him.
That form was
Shame. Put your head down.
The information that was ultimately pulled off your phone was the information that you selected and you and Matt Kelch worked together to get off your phone, correct?
Objection.
Is that correct?
No, Your Honor, if I could explain.
Sure.
He walked me through on how I could pull the text
Yeah, you
string
worked
with
together.
John O'Keefe and the defendant. He walked me through the process, how to use the machine.
And then you did that.
I did do that. That's
And that's
correct.
what you turned over to the police.
That's correct.
And any other information would still be on your phone ending in 5421, correct?
Well, that information stayed on my phone. I just took those strings off and provided them to the Mass State
Right.
Police.
So where's your phone?
I do not have that phone anymore.
You've destroyed that phone, haven't you?
No, I threw the phone away.
Well, that's destroying the phone, isn't it?
Destroying the phone.
I had every right to do that.
I didn't ask you about your rights. I asked you what you did.
Objection.
Sustained.
I love that. Oh, I love that. So you destroyed your phone. Well, that's my right. I didn't ask you about your rights. Oh, I love it. I love it.
You destroyed the phone by removing the SIM card. Correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you do that? Did you pull the SIM card out?
Objection.
Did you pull the SIM card out of your phone?
Your Honor, to the best of my recollection, if I did take the SIM card out, I would have when I threw it away, if I was going to take it out, I would break it or cut it.
That's what you did.
But I did not wipe the phone. I did not take anything else off it. But if I was going to throw the phone away, that's what I would have done.
Well, that's what you did.
Okay.
You know, as an ATF agent with electronic data experience, when you pull the SIM card out and break it, and then throw the phone away and the SIM card away, you don't need to wipe the phone.
Objection.
Yeah.
Sustained. Mr. Jackson, that's it.
Your Honor,
One more question.
I mean, this is so important. This is so important. And that judge being so rude, this is so important right now. That's it. Okay, one more. And then now you're going to get Lally standing up, the disrespect. And Jackson goes, like, what are you doing?
I think you were aware that that there was a court order that you not alter, delete, or destroy, or in any way manipulate your phone or the electronic data associated with it, correct?
Objection.
As to what date?
As of September 23rd, I'm sorry, September 30th, 2022.
Objection. I don't believe that's what the court order was. I think it's
Your Honor, I
been.
can make a quick offer of proof. That's exactly what it was that he was notified.
Were you aware of that? Was that your
Oh, Your Honor. What's the question exactly, Your Honor? I'm sorry.
That's the question again.
Sure. Were you served with?
Sorry, folks, the park's closed. The moose out front should have told you. Reminds me of John Candy's character in Vacation, National Lampoon's Vacation, the very first one. Sorry, folks, the park's closed. The moose out front should have told you.
A copy of a notice on September 30th, 2022, that you not alter or destroy or manipulate anything on your phone on September 30th.
I was served an order. Yes, that's correct.
And isn't it true in another hearing, you explained that on September 29th, the day before you claimed you got that notice, you changed phone carriers and changed phone numbers?
And I maintained the phone.
Until you didn't.
Right.
And you destroyed it a month later by pulling the SIM card out and throwing it away, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you do that in October? Did you destroy that phone?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you pull the SIM card out of your phone, Mr. Higgins?
Fucker.
Did you?
It's possible that I did. I believe that's how I've testified. Yes.
You testified.
It's possible that if I took it out, that it was either cut or broken.
It's not just possible.
So that.
And that would have been after the date the order was already denied.
Mr. Higgins, I have one question left. One question.
Where are you going?
Did you, Mr. Lally's already standing. I haven't even started.
Have a seat, Mr. Lally. Go ahead. Last question, Mr.
Put your
Jackson.
head down, you shameful. Shame.
Mr. Higgins, very simply, and then we're done. Did you remove the SIM card for that phone, drive onto a military base, throw the SIM card in one dumpster and the phone in a different dumpster?
That is not correct.
Did you testify that?
That was your one question, Mr. Jackson. All right, folks, that's it for today. We will
Yeah.
see you Tuesday.
See you later.
Have a
See you later,
great long
Bev.
weekend, please. It's very important.
Liar. Liars. Liars, liars, liars. Well, listen, I hope this gave everybody kind of a visual presentation as to what went on the night at 34 Fairview at 1:30 a.m. when Karen was sleeping at John's house. There's a lot of activity, a lot of deleted phone calls on Jen McCabe's phone, and I find that highly, 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 highly suspicious. And I hope the jury gets something like this, or has been timelining this out in their notes, because just looking at it and then putting all those visual presentations together with the videos that we've seen now, the photographs, it kind of lines everything up. And I'll tell you, I mean, I didn't count them, but I mean, it's got to be over 30 times that Jennifer McCabe deleted something. It's probably over that. It's probably 50 times. I didn't count it, and I should have counted it, but it is highly, highly suspicious activity. And, if a jury doesn't see that and realize that, I don't know what case and trial they're watching right now. Because I haven't seen one thing that has convicted Cameron Reed so far of second-degree murder. I don't see it. Just hasn't happened. It's not going to happen. All right. Late here, we just did about a 2-hour live. I appreciate everybody being here just to give you some updates here on LTL. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be able to stream the first half of court. So if you want to come over and watch that, I'm going to start right at 9 o'clock and go up until the lunch break. And then I do have some things. I got to get back over to my studio. I've been out of it for like 2 weeks. AC unit, I believe, was installed yesterday. Power is supposed to be back and reserved to the building today. And the AC is supposed to be turned on in my building tomorrow. So hopefully everything is up and going and we'll be back in the studio because frankly, I'm getting tired of doing these in my bedroom. That's why I got a studio. I have something really special planned for Thursday. Oh, by the way, I will be in court on Thursday. I have been invited Thursday. So I will attend court on Thursday. I will sit in during trial. And then after, when we walk out, I will go live so we can watch Karen walking out. I was going to live when I got there, but in respect to myself going into court, in respect to the Reeds, in respect for Karen, I don't think it's good etiquette to live before going into court. So y'all can watch Tom in the morning, but I will be there Thursday in court. I believe it's a half day on Thursday. And then when we come out, I will live so you can see all of us walking out together. Thursday night, I have Jess Machado will be on my show at 8 p.m. giving us some updates throughout the week as she's going to be able to sit in court all week. Is it just Monday, Thursday, or are they on Wednesday as well? But she's going to give us updates as to courtroom activity. I'll be able to update to you about Thursday. And then I have plans to get Tom CPU, my first in-house live guest, in my studio on Thursday. I just have to lock everything up with him, and hopefully he can make it over for the 8 p.m. Then it will be all three of us on the panel together, which I think is going to be great. If not, we'll logistically work all that out. It's really comes down to like the AC being, because it's 90 degrees in my building. I'm on the top floor. It is hot in there. And with all the studio lights on, it's too much. It's overwhelming. Okay. Full day, Monday, Wednesday, half day, Thursday, no court, Tuesday, Friday. Perfect. So we'll have updates from Jess Machado on Thursday night on all of the courtroom activity that's gone on Monday, Wednesday, and of course Thursday. I can let you know that. But I'm going to reach out to Tom tomorrow. Tom, if you're watching, I will reach out to you at some point tomorrow. We'll work out all the logistics, and hopefully I can get you in on Thursday, and you'll be my actually first sit-down guest in my studio. I'm super excited for that. Yeah, so Thursday, I will be live after court, and I don't know. Tomorrow I'm going to do the half day, and then I do have some stuff I got to go, like I said, get over in my studio. Monday night, set some things up. I get a new camera that I need to set up, and hopefully all my power is restored over there. So thank you everybody here for being in the chat. What do we have for the total? KC, can you give me a total? And then 25% of that will get kicked back to Karen Reed. What I do is I will post receipts on my LTL Facebook page, my YouTube community page, and then ultimately you just go right to the defense link and you'll see LTL Media Chat Razor, the date 6/2/24. So we're going to kick $80 back to Karen tonight. Thank you so much. And I'll make that donation right after the stream ends. If you're first time over here, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the love that LTL has gotten lately. I can't do it with all of you. And we'll get some more guests lined up soon. But I love doing all these little solo shows too. It's fun just to chat along with everybody and be interactive. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody for the opportunity, all the great mods and members and all the people that stop by. Let's do this. Let's throw some pink hearts in the chat. Flood it, flood it, flood it on the way out. And I'm going to play the old outro tonight, the old outro, and we'll let that roll a little bit. I haven't seen that video in a while. Let's flood the comments with hearts. And let me play like the old LTL true crime ending. Let me find it. Gosh, I haven't seen it in a while. Let's do this one. All right. Good night, everybody. Love you all. Flood that comment with pink hearts for Karen. Appreciate y'all. Talk to you soon. Good night.
Said it feels we're the only ones fighting for the truth of what happened to John O'Keefe. And me and my family and my attorneys and my team have marshaled every resource to get to the truth. It just feels like no one else wants it.
And Karen, just to be clear, you didn't do it.
We know who did it, Steve. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know.
Yes, we do.
And no, she didn't do it. No, she didn't do it. This is an innocent woman. She didn't
do it.
I tried to save his life. I tried to save his life at 6 a.m. I was covered in his blood. I was the only one trying to save his life.
Why'd you admit to it?
She didn't admit to it. She didn't admit to anything close to that. Nothing close to that. And you should know that.
That was like 3 or 4 times. She said it.
No,
No,
she didn't.
that's not true.
She asked a question.
It makes absolutely no sense. That is the Commonwealth grasping at straws. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck.
We have the 8 letters. We've seen them. We've read them. We are using them. The genie cannot be put back in the bottle.
Take the change and set the trap, run over many a time, no one down.